Namaste everyone and welcome to Namaste Neighbor. I'm your host Acharya Ganesh Jarunath, and today I would like to discuss with you how to properly set your puja thali. Thali means a plate. Sometimes it is also pronounced Thaali with an R sound, but it means the same thing. A puja thali is the plate or the container in which all of your puja items are kept, and that is used for when you have a puja function. In the West Indies, you may hear the term jhandi, which means a flag, but it's a ceremony or puja that is done that is used to raise the flag, symbolizing the deities. But for these purposes, we'll just say puja in general to encompass all pujas. And so for your personal pujas that you usually do when you invite a priest over, there is usually a thali that is set with all of the items that are needed for the ceremony. In this day and age, many times, personally, I will go to someone's home to perform a ceremony that they've requested, but many times nothing is set, or at least set all the way. And that's not due to the fault of the person or the family. It's just they did not know or don't know how to arrange the items. So what happens is I'm handed a box or a bag filled with materials and tasked with having to organize and arrange it. Now, while that is no problem, that poses two main issues. Number one, it prolongs the starting of the ceremony. So for example, if you set your ceremony to start at 9 and the priest arrive and nothing is arranged or set up, now you're looking to start about 9:30, even 10 o'clock, depending on what needs to be done. So your entire ceremony or function has now been delayed. The second issue is that it cuts into your blessing. There are three components to doing your puja which add together to your benefit. Number one is preparing for your function, your puja. That includes the altar being prepared and all of the items being arranged. Number two is the actual ceremony itself that will be conducted. And number three, the cleaning up process, which also needs to be done after the ceremony. And so all three factors together are actually your puja or your function. And so knowing how to set your puja thali, this will help you a great deal in terms of not only saving time, but gaining that blessing as well. The way I'm going to show you is the way that I prefer the thali to be set up, but the way it's going to be set up is a very good foundation for any function that you may have. However, if you do have a priest that you work with, I advise you to consult with your priest, to consult with your Pandit, and be sure that there's no additions or subtractions that they have. However, if you set it up the way that I show you, I guarantee you that they will have very few additions or subtractions needed. And so we'll begin. First of all, we'll start off with the thali. The thali is a round plate, as I mentioned to you, but they don't all look like this. They come in many shapes, sizes, and designs. But this is a general idea and basic concept that you'll have. So when you do your own thali, you can put the little tweaks where you need to in terms of how it looks. So in your thali, you want to have the vessels for the items that will be held. So in this case, I'll use some glass bowls and some little metal cups, like these. So the way that I remember what needs to go in is I always think, okay, 3 powders, 3 edibles, and then there are other things that you'll see that goes in, but this is 90% of your thali. So let's start with the powders. In puja, generally, we use 3 main powders. The first one is chandan. Chandan is made from sandalwood, from the sandalwood tree, and the powder comes from its bark. And so the chandan, there's many varieties. There's the white chandan, the yellow chandan, orange, red, and the brown or tan one. The most common are the white chandan and the tan chandan, or the brown. And so what you'll do is you take a little spoon and you put some of the powder into the container. Notice that I am not filling the container all the way up. There is no need to fill the container all the way up because you do not need that much. You'll gauge the amount you need based on the length and how many pujas are involved. The next powder that we have is the haldi. Haldi is the yellow powder, commonly referred to as dye, because of the nature, the consistency of it, and the staining properties it has. So the dye, or the haldi, again, you'll take about the same amount, maybe just a little bit more, and you put into the other container. And again, you do not need to fill the container, but at the same time, you can judge the amount based on the intensity or the detail of your puja. And the third powder is a red powder called sindur. Sindur also has varieties, but the main one used in puja is the red type. And you will do the same thing by adding about a spoonful or so of the powder into the vessel. Now there are other powders that are used in puja. One is called kumkum, which coincidentally I have on my head right here. This is actually kumkum powder, not sindur. Sindur is usually worn by women who are married. And there's another powder called kasturi. But those, kumkum more so is used in puja, but these 3 that I'm showing you are the main ones. If you have these 3, then you're good to go. So we have the chandan, the dye or the haldi, and the sindur. Next, you want to focus on the 3 food type of items. The first one we have is rice. The best one to use is white rice, and the rice is raw. So white rice or long grain jasmine rice or basmati rice. These are good rices to use in puja. So what we do is we'll fill one of the containers, one of the bowls, with rice. And there you go. Again, you don't need to necessarily fill the bowl all the way, but enough depending on the amount of pujas you have, the detail that it consists of. Next, we have the clove and the elaichi. Cloves, I'm sure you're all familiar with. The elaichi looks like this. And this is elaichi, many of you may know, in the shell. Looks like this. And it's used as grinded up as a powder in many teas and so on. But in puja, we keep it together. If you do not have elaichi or cannot get elaichi, that is okay. The clove is good enough. If you notice, the elaichi and the clove I mix together. That is because in the prayer, they are offered together. So there's no need to keep them separate in your puja. So you go ahead and fill one of the containers with the clove and elaichi, and also a piece of camphor. You could either break the camphor and sprinkle it, or you can keep it whole, just like that, and the priest will do that as he goes along. the next item is sugar. So in another container, you'll fill it with sugar. As one of the steps in the puja. And these are your 3 food items. I'm just going to rearrange just a little bit. Just like this. And in this container, I'm going to put something called supari. Supari is a very hard fruit, like a nut-like ingredient. And it is used in the puja, offered with the clove and the elaichi. The amount that you need varies depending on the length and what your puja consists of. But a safe number to always start with is between 5 and 7. And so you can put them inside of the container. And so as I mentioned, the supari is offered with the clove and the camphor, and that the priest will know to do that. The other items now that you need in your thali are the thread. We call this Rakshasutra or Janel thread, as we say in the puja, or Kacha Sutra. So what this is used for is we use this to tie on the wrist of the person who is performing the ceremony as a protection band, or we also use this as the sacred thread that we place on the murtis, or the images of the Lord. Sacred thread like I'm wearing here. And so you need the sacred thread here, the Raksha Sutra. You need cotton balls that will be offered as well. You need attar. Attar is the perfume that is made specifically for puja. And attar also comes in a spray format as well that you can get. Either one is acceptable. And lastly, you will also need some coins. And this, devotees, this is your basic puja thali setup. Very simple, very easy. For the video purposes, I did it in a slow process-based way, but as you can see, it really doesn't take that much time to set up once you get the hang of it. You have your 3 powders that we use for the tikka, chandan, haldi, sindur. You have your 3 food items, if you will, the rice, the sugar, the cloves, and the supari. They go together. And then your other items here that you'll need: cotton balls used for clothing, the thread used for making the sacred thread we call janel, the perfume, which is the attar, and coins. Very easy, very simple, and this gives you a basic idea of what your puja thali should look like. Hopefully this video helps and you've gained something out of it. You can use this to not only for your own personal functions, but to help others as well and spread the word. Please share the video, please subscribe to my channel if you found this helpful, and also tell others about it. Thank you so much, and I want to say namaste to each and every one of you, and once again, hopefully you've gained something from this video.